I was in my rental store late one night when my inventory gave me an awful fright. A video I had no record of, sitting there on the shelf above.
Found on shelf.
It just appeared on the shelf.
But for your health.
It's bad for your health.
Protect yourself.
You should protect yourself.
Found on shelf.
It was found on shelf. From my DOS computer at the checkout desk to the basement records and office Rolodex, there was absolutely no receipt to show ever buying this cursed video.
Found on shelf.
It just appeared on the shelf.
But for your health.
It's probably bad for your health.
Protect yourself.
You should protect yourself.
Found on shelf.
It was found on shelf.
So did I ever tell you guys about the first time I watched Solo?
Was it in a garage like that one picture I saw?
So I was 18. The year before I had watched, because you're a teenager, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're into horror movies. You're like, well, now I'm into extreme movies. Let me see the most extreme shit I can see, right? The things everyone tells you not to watch, is you're going to go out and seek. And when I was 17, I saw Cannibal Holocaust.
All right.
Holy shit, I think I'm done.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's fair.
I got a book that's like horror lists, like all of these celebrities, like top lists of their favorite horror novels, their favorite horror openings, their favorite movies, this way, that way. You know, that used to be a thing you would do. You'd buy books about movies instead of
podcasts.
Podcasts. I don't think we've contributed to the erosion of print media.
Yes,
but
we have.
I think we definitely contributed to the erosion of society.
Yeah, that's what they call a market disruption.
Yes. Oh, we are disrupting markets left and right here.
What's the line? The inflection point.
Yeah.
So I get to the list and it's like, and the person talks about Solo, 120 Days of Sodom, and it's like, okay, don't watch this movie. This is a powerhouse of human misery. Like it's everything was about. It's worse than Cannibal Holocaust. To sit there and I'm like, how could anything be worse? I'm not going to watch it. But then the germs in my brain, like, well, now I have to know, right?
Yeah, you got to check it out.
So
the parasites.
Yeah, exactly. It's the brain worms. So like about a year later, I'm 18 now, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, we're gonna watch Solo. So it's in the summer. It's in the slow part of our job. I'm working at a trophy parts distribution warehouse right now. So like the places that sell the marble and the columns and shit to the trophy shops schools buy them from. Me and my friend, he was also super into like fucked up movies. So we decide while the manager's away to rent this movie and watch it on the computer in the office one day. Now, to be fair,
right.
Customers can walk into the office at any time. This is like playing Russian goddamn roulette here.
Yeah.
But we also don't exactly know what we're in for.
Like somebody said it was bad, but we'll see.
You can
Patrick,
guess.
Without hyperbole, I would rather be caught watching porn at work than watching Salo at work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd be more justified in keeping your job if you were watching porn at work.
Yeah.
I mean, if finding it on there, didn't clue you in enough, and if all you knew was that it was called Salo and that was it, that might be one thing.
But but
if you knew, the 120 Days of Sodom, kind of.
That subheading is always a real clincher.
I did also know the Marquis de Sade was involved at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we're watching it, and he brought some weed to I forget what strain he was using. I don't know. This is the first time I got high too. So the first time I get high is the first time I watched Solo, and we're watching it at work in an office.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so we watched Solo that way. Now the real fucked up part is while we're both watching it, getting increasingly more miserable and just like, what the fuck are we watching? See, so for lunch that day, I had brought a tray of brownies that we could all eat later, and
special brownies.
Well, no, normal brownies, but they're infinitely less appetizing after the circle of shit.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, so that's the story, except for we mentioned it to the UPS guy when he came by to pick stuff up, because he also said he was into fucked up movies, and we're like, dude, don't watch this one.
That's the last thing you say to anybody about if somebody enjoys messed up movies, you're like, oh God, just don't watch. That's the first thing they're gonna do is watch that.
Yeah, so about a week later, he comes to pick up, and he's like covered in sweat, and it looks like he's like seen a Vietnam flashback. He is currently watching it while driving from stop to
God.
stop.
Oh God. You wonder why your package showed up late. There you go.
That method of transmission is the entire distribution strategy for a Serbian film.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to watch this movie. I'm gonna watch it now.
Well, why'd you gotta say that?
Right.
Patrick, the real irony there is that is also exactly how I lost my virginity.
Wait, from a UPS driver going stop to stop?
I was making a joke about Sallow, but we're not going to talk too much about it, Dustin.
Hello and welcome to the Fountain Shop Podcast.
we have to fade in on that somewhere. We can't play.
We can't what? Why can't we do?
And you got to leave the awkward silence in afterwards.
I will.
If you are 10 minutes into this podcast and wondering why we have yet to talk about this movie, congratulations. This is exactly what watching Mr. Vampire 3 is like.
This is not what watching Mr. Vampire 3 is like. Do not quote this movie in that.
Were you not entertained here?
If you like long stretches of weirdly crass non sequiturs, congratulations.
Hello.
And I defy you to tell me I'm wrong.
Let me do the intro. Hello and welcome to the Found on Shelf Podcast, the only movie podcast with absolutely no standards.
Yeah.
I am your cartoonishly outlandish host, Patrick, and with me today is my co-host, who I think is planning on seizing control of his local bingo hall in a bloodless coup. Dustin, can you tell us how your revolt is going, and are you getting the upper hand on the Baptists?
It's coming along. It's going all right. I've actually started to enjoy bingo now, so I don't know if I'm going to go through with the takeover, because it's just kind of fun to sit back and play. I get the draw now.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, it also involves lots and lots of rum. So
see, now that makes more sense.
Yeah.
With us this week is our special guest, Chris. Chris, I have a question for you. How many more times can we get you to agree to coming on the show?
At this point, I think we've established that I literally have no better friends to spend time with.
That's the Found on Shelf podcast, the friends you're embarrassed to tell your other friends about.
And as we are in our third season of being the friends you're embarrassed to tell your other friends about, we have a very special gimmick in which we are only doing the third movie in film franchises. And today we are doing the Hong Kong cinema classic, Mr. Vampire 3. How did you feel about this movie?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was. I watched 5 minutes of the movie and I was like, Patrick, this is the greatest movie I've ever watched. It's just fun. I see where it's going already, and Chris, did you not feel the same?
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be lynched if I say what's on my mind, because let me be clear. The movie was not bad by any verifiable metric, especially comparing it to the other movies you fuckers have made me watch.
It's not my fault you don't think someone shaking a branch tree and pretending it's the wind is funny.
Okay, that's... This is by far the best movie you guys have made me watch.
That is accurate of the movies we picked.
Yeah.
But it is not a movie I would ever watch again of my own free will.
This is the second time I've seen this movie.
I think that says more about me than it does about the movie.
That could be true. This movie is absolutely deranged, and it's everything I ever want in a movie.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about it, and this is something that we can kind of get into a little bit later, is that they don't really explain a lot, or they don't over-explain and spoon-feed you everything. You just like, this is it. So yeah, that's just how it is. And you accept it and you move on.
It certainly does not spoon feed you in the slightest.
No.
It is very much sitting a sixth grader down in an AP literature class and saying, "Don't get lost."
It's very much like No One Got You a Trip Sitter.
Yes, yes. I think talking about drug trips, my elevator pitch for this, if we'd like to go ahead and get into that, this movie is what Jean-Claude Van Damme's character in Bloodsport sees every time he closes his eyes.
Now, are you saying that because it's accurate, or just because you watched Bloodsport today?
A little bit of both, but also this movie feels like the dream of somebody who is heavily concussed.
I don't know if I have an elevator pitch for Mr. Vampire other than watch it.
I had an exorcist, and two ghosts walk into a bar, meet up with a priest, and have a badass fight with an evil witch and her two sidekicks.
That's the whole story.
Ultimately, you just pitch it with a just a deep sniff off the inside of your palm.
Yes, it was just, yeah, I enjoyed it. I did. But we could talk. I didn't get a trailer for it because it was in foreign language and it wouldn't make any sense to us. And it would have been a lot of sound effects. So there you go. Trailer.
Yeah. That's a pretty good trailer right there.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do the primer. So this is a genre of film within Hong Kong cinema. So these are action movies from the Hong Kong cinema boom in the 80s, late 80s to early 90s. You've got Chow Yun-fat gets really popular. You get Jackie Chan comes out of that system. Michelle Yeoh has great films. The year before this one comes out, I believe, is Yes, Madam, which is a really great Michelle Yeoh film. The year the first Mr. Vampire comes out is the year that the first Police Story comes out. Then you have these really intense action movies, and they all have very similar vibes. The vibe is just balls to the wall, foot on the gas the entire time, no braking, insanity, just action mixed with almost Looney Tunes style slapstick, and then the strangest visuals you'll ever see. Now, within this system, there is also a subgenre movie, Jiangxi movies. So the quote unquote Chinese hopping vampire. I'm probably going to mess up a lot of pronunciation in this episode, but there does seem to be some variation across China of it's Jiangxi or Zhongshu, or there's lots of different ways of pronouncing this particular vampire. The first one is Encounters of a Spooky Kind is the name of the movie.
I like the name.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky.
And this is where the formula kind of comes into place, because it's the first one with any of these movies, with any like Jiangxi in live action, and it's a huge hit. Mr. Vampire kind of comes on the heels of this film. The thing about Encounters of a Spooky Kind, the way it is structured, about a down on his luck cart driver who a powerful politician is sleeping with his wife, and he catches them, and so they frame him for her murder. And then along the way, he encounters ghosts and Jiangxi and zombies, and trains to be a Taoist priest and it ends in a wizard fight.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing about that movie is it does have an overarching plot. Your main protagonist does have an arc he goes through of learning to not be a coward, to stand up for himself, of getting the tools to fight back with, and taking revenge on his being framed for his wife's murder. His wife, however, is not dead. She's just going along with the frame job because she'd rather be with the politician. Ends in some very questionable shots, but the structure is basically comedic or action-packed vignettes, right? So that's this through line, but in that through line, he goes on a journey. So it's like a short joke with a ghost, and a short joke with a vampire, and a short joke with a zombie. Action scene here, action scene there, wizard training sequence, right?
All right.
You can see how that translates to the movie we are watching now, in that there are set pieces that we hop between and a through line to get through those set pieces. However, it doesn't feel as cohesive maybe as the movies we're used to watching. Mr. Vampire comes out the next year. It's Ricky Lau's, I think, second movie, but his first real big hit as a director. Mr. Vampire also stars an actor who was in Encounters of a Spooky Kind. He was kind of not the antagonist, but an antagonist. The actor's name is Lin Jingying. He is the more competent Taoist priest in this movie.
Okay.
The guy with the eyebrows?
The unibrow, yeah.
So that guy, he's your main character in the first Mr. Vampire movie, which is also about a Taoist priest. However, not this one. None of these movies are directly connected, but they all reuse the same actors in stories involving vampires. So the first one is he's the local priest, or the local rich guy disturbs a grave, unleashes the fury of the vampire. They have to stop it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
All right. Good. We're on the same page so far.
Yeah.
So the second movie takes place in modern day.
Oh, okay. Weird.
And yeah. So the second movie, Mr. Vampire 2, although in Hong Kong it was actually released as, it's a sequel to Mr. Vampire, but it was released as Vampire Family. And it is in fact about a vampire family waking up in modern day Hong Kong and wreaking havoc
Okay. I like the sound of that.
as a family.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A family picture.
Exactly. Now we get to Mr. Vampire 3, which was released in Hong Kong as Mr. Supernatural.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a better title because I was like,
There's no
where's the
vampires in this one. Yeah. There's no vampires in this one at all.
No.
Yeah, which is a shame because if we had been doing this in any other year, we would have watched Mr. Vampire 2. Mr. Vampire is actually the best one, but Mr. Vampire 2 just does such insane things. There's so much to talk about there.
All right. There's always next season, Patrick.
There's always next season. In this movie, you have the priest who's an exorcist working with ghosts to con people out of their money. This is a little overarching plot, right? And then he wanders into a village with a more competent priest who's more dedicated to his craft, and they are attacked. The village is attacked. A witch and her magically enchanted horse thieves.
Yeah. Okay. I'm still with you here. That's what I watched. Yeah. And that was like, I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of a cool scene. And yeah, at first it starts off and he's got that when he's kind of like a con artist. So he actually can be sort of a badass.
Yeah.
But he also cons the people, and he's working with the ghosts, and he brings a ghost in there and say, oh, well, here they are, and I'm exorcising them. But then the guy's like, oh, that's weird, because every time we saw the ghost, it was a female.
Yeah, he's got a couple of ghosts that follow him around like
and this character, his name is Mao.
And they were called Pows, Pows. He called them something Pow and something Pow, Big Pow, Little Pow or something.
It's Fa Pow and Si Pow.
So it's more like Pokemon.
Ooh.
I've brought this upon us. It's my fault.
I hate that I set you up for that spike directly into my nose.
Yep. Gonna be that kind of night, gentlemen. Okay, so.
And then Eyebrows, our main character, he is his name is Master Gao, but I think everyone just basically calls him the Master, right?
Yeah.
Or
Uncle.
It's basically just seafood the whole way through.
Seafood?
I'm just gonna let that one sit there.
Think about what you did.
Now, Billy Lau it plays the character's name is Chiang. He is the captain of the, I don't know, they call him captain, but I'm not sure what he's captain of. But he's
he's wearing the big glasses like Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. Yeah,
and he's like the sniveling little suck up, right? To Master Gao. He wants Senpai to notice him. I think is how Chris said it.
Yes,
he's just obsessed with Gao in like a very unhealthy way, but he's also an unpleasant person who's just causes everyone else harm around him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If a white person had made that character, would have made me very uncomfortable.
No, yeah, it's bad. But the way he acts, it reminds me of I think Justin McElroy in Adventure Zone. They were making characters for something, and he's like, they were shaping their world, and he was like, it's important for me that we develop that we create a contingency of idiots who just exist to make everyone's life harder. You can tell this is a post-COVID show, and I think that's basically what this character is, an idiot who exists to make everyone's life harder.
I could see that. Yeah, he's kind of he. I thought of Starscream from like Transformers, just the kind of bumbling sidekick that wants to like.
Okay, was it Transformers Prime? Was like the last CGI Transformers?
I don't know. I haven't watched that in a long time.
Starscream serves way more cut than this guy.
Yeah, this guy can be summed up in the single syllable "goo."
Yeah. So he plays this character in all of the movies. It's a different character in all the movies, but it's always this archetype. And he's in all of them. He's a captain of the guard again. He of like actual police. In Mr. Vampire, and
Sure.
then in Mr. Vampire 2, he is. I want to say they're illegal archaeologists.
As you
Okay.
do.
They seem to have been tomb raiding for profit.
Right.
Oh, so it's just Indiana Jones without a PR department.
Well, yeah, that belonged in a museum at least. Same kind of character. And I bring that up because there's a moment in this movie where a ghost makes him try to grope a woman.
Yeah.
And in Mr. Vampire, one of the priests casts a hex on him and possesses him in order to make him grope a woman. Who is his cousin. So this joke happens twice in the span of 3 movies.
Okay.
Which isn't a lot, but it's still weird that it happened twice.
So Mr. Vampire, like a lot of horror movies, there's one a year. So Mr. Vampire's in 85, Mr. Vampire 2's in 86, Mr. Vampire 3 is in 87, Mr. Vampire 4 is in 88, and then nothing for like 4 years, and Mr. Vampire 92 comes out in 92, and that's the last. So there's 5 of them. I've seen 3 so far. All of them are worth watching. And if you listen to the podcast, you definitely should listen to them because they're absolutely goddamn insane.
This just feels like a superior version of American Horror Story.
American Horror Story just it really pisses me off because the first couple episodes of every season are usually pretty good, and then it's just like, all right, and then it just goes.
When I Catch You, Ryan Murphy.
That's the thing about Ryan Murphy. He it's never enough. He keeps throwing shit on the fire with American Horror Story. It's like, okay, here's the premise, and also this, and also this, and also this, and also this, and then you're in the second to the last episode, and it's like, and also this, and also this, and you get to the last episode, it's like, and we can throw more shit on here. Just keep going. I don't like Ryan Murphy anyway, but
Let Jessica Lange take a nap.
Yeah.
I wanted to really like those shows, but it just it was rough.
I did watch the slasher one. Did you watch a while back? Was it 84 or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Jesus Christ, like it starts out kind of fun. It gets progressively worse and worse, and the end is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't forgiven him for the existence of Glee.
We're not going to talk about Glee on this podcast.
We could talk about the Community Glee episode because that was good.
Yeah, the Glee. And Dan Harmon gets to most of my points about why I don't like Ryan Murphy.
Wow, I didn't realize this was going to turn into a Ryan Murphy bashing podcast, but here we are.
For legal purposes, these are jokes.
It doesn't matter. That one's not making it to air anyway.
Don't gatekeep the jokes.
He's an editor. That's his job.
That is my job.
Why director's cuts are a thing.
Where were you in this movie? Oh yeah, it's literally just starting. So yeah. So Mao is running a scam with his 2 ghost friends. They pretend to possess a place. He extracts all of the money, but he winds up into this weird showdown with a sorceress and her horse thief. But the movie is mostly told in action sequences. There's a great moment in this scene where, in order to fight the magical horse thieves who are impenetrable to blades, Master Gao has to piss in a cup and throw his piss on them.
Yeah. Well, they specifically need virgin urine.
Did they?
Yeah, you didn't hear that? You didn't catch it? Oh, I screenshotted it and everything. It was great. He's like, I need virgin urine. And then the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry. I had a little fling last weekend or something like that. And he goes, fine, I'll do it myself.
And that's...
You're using different subtitles. Okay. This is actually fun. Because you watched it on Plex and whatever Plex source the subtitles on. And then I watched it on the Criterion app. Which, by the way, I found all these movies to the Criterion channel. So, 1, I do watch good movies, and 2, we're justified. We're discussing art tonight. Look at that.
Yes.
Justification. But we watched the Criterion. We're going on different subtitles, and this subtitles just said, we have to make some water. And the guy said, oh, I can't. It's like, fine, I'll go.
Oh, yeah.
The knowledge that it was supposed to be virgin urine makes it hilarious that he asked Chang for it.
Yeah.
and what happens later on in the movie where he's trying to get the bamboo because they want to go and put the fake bamboo into the bathroom so they can collect more of his urine so they can use it to torture the ghosts.
Yes.
I'm surprised it didn't go in the other cut because that seems like a very important plot point.
If the translation is accurate, yes.
Yeah.
That's my point. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, which word is correct, right?
There's y'all's first piece of merch.
Yeah.
Listen, are you going to sit here and mock the ancient Chinese Pissmancers?
Patrick, I'm sending you a message right now on your little mobile device on the just on chats, and because it's an image, and I don't think you can do images in here. This is what my screenshot said.
Yeah, that is a completely different line of dialogue.
Yeah,
God,
Chang, I
I'm
need some
so curious.
virgin's urine.
I'm still obsessed with how commanding this man's eyebrows are. They take up the whole screen.
I'm
Oh,
sure
they're
that this
beautiful.
means this review is going to
Yeah.
stay entirely on pace and not have any weird divergences.
Of course not. Well, luckily there wasn't.
Is this the first time we've talked about piss play on the podcast?
Yes.
It can't be.
Yeah, I think.
It can't be.
I mean, we talked a
think-
lot about balls and stuff on the episode with your wife, but
we could not have watched things and not talked about piss at some point.
I don't know. I don't recall.
Honestly, that's probably the best case scenario for things.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Honestly,
things I don't remember about things.
Now that's merch.
Yeah.
I think if anything, that's just more an indictment of Western civilization. Stop being afraid of pee, Western filmmakers.
Now listen. Are
boy.
Everybody pees.
Are we really going down this road? Because it seems like we I don't know, man. I don't think that's the way to save movies.
The way to save movies?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it with. I don't think.
I
we're
mean, if
gonna
they're
do
on
it with-
fire, it's a pretty good method.
Which one? Yeah.
If they're on fire, you just pee on them, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Jellyfish things.
Mm.
How do we get out of this?
I'm just saying, Megalodon 3 could have been saved with like 10% more John Barrowman urine.
Yep. Okay. Chris is pro water sports. Got it.
What do you say we go home and I pee on you?
And this is why my coworkers will never hear this podcast.
So back to the movie. Oh, so we're in this middle of this fight. So before the virgin urine part, when there's a fight scene going on, they try to keep hacking away at this guy, but the hacking isn't working or whatever. So the guy puts a magical spell on his sword and cuts him, and then the devil chick lady shows up and she like spits out maggots on her fingers and uses that to heal the guys. Just
As you do, real maggots.
And part of me is curious if like there's like some Chinese like cultural significance to all of this like Taoist magic that's taking place, or if it's truly just movie magic and we're none the wiser.
We're all in a place of ignorance enough to not really know which way that's going to go. I will say there are a couple of props that show up in every movie, so I would be interested to know if they are important in Taoism, or at least in types of folk magic surrounding Taoism, which is the mirror medallions show up in every movie.
all right.
And the sword made of coins that turns into a lightsaber when magic is imbued into it.
Okay.
Sure,
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I think I remember the coin sword actually having its own Wikipedia page when I looked this movie up after.
Oh
we watched it.
god.
I didn't click it, but I think coin sword has its own Wikipedia page. So.
That might mean something else.
Yeah, and then I am pretty sure their like robe with the Tai Chi Tu and the regalia on it is pretty close to it. But I am basing this on the dumbest thing possible, and that is the Chinese character in Card Captor Sakura.
God damn it.
I don't even know what that means.
I've just taken so much psychic damage from being reminded of Card Captor Sakura.
I am pleasantly unaware of what is even talking about right now.
Probably for the best.
Okay, that's good. That's
it's
good.
it's a magical girl anime from the mid '90s that Clamp made Sakura.
Poor kids tried very hard to market it as a shonen anime, and it is not a shonen anime.
Did they really?
Oh yeah, like that was on like Saturday morning cartoons alongside Yu-Gi-Oh and all them. Like
Pokemon and shit, but it's a magical girl show.
yeah, like anyway.
Okay.
The best magical girl show is still Sailor Moon, and I'll tell you why. Not because it's great, but because it raises the question of the format, at least of the first TV show. Every episode, the monsters would concoct a new like fake business that would entrance people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just have to wonder what the economics behind creating all of these businesses were like. Like if you're in the shadow zone or the negaverse or whatever the fuck they call it, how do you establish a line of credit and collateral in order to secure enough overhead to open your business time and time again? I really,
You've worked in retail far too long.
It's Japan in the late 80s and 90s. Everybody was too broke. So
this is how you know I've worked in retail too long.
Far too long.
Far too long. When we were planning our wedding, Becca wanted ribbon to drape over the whatever like standy thing they were using as an altar was, right? And she comes up with a number of how many feet, and she's wondering if it's enough. I said, okay, let's measure it. We didn't have a ruler with us. I said, okay, we're standing next to the fabric. I grab it, and I tell her to walk down 3 base decks, because that's the amount of feet it is that you just said. I was like, no, we need 2 more base decks.
Oh, gosh,
because the standard base deck is 4 foot.
Yep.
We can now apply for educational and informational branding from the government.
We're gonna tag the podcast educational.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's as educational as it is criticism. This is strictly just going, hey, look at this weird movie we found. Speaking of this weird movie we found, this movie has one of the best scenes I have ever seen in it, in which a child gets folded up like origami.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty rad.
After this vanquishing of the horse thieves, they retreat. They have like a party the next night to celebrate I think the master's birthday.
Yeah, because they gave him some money to go buy his. They kept calling him uncle. Is that like a term?
Yeah, it's a term, but I don't know like the direct cultural implication or one-to-one translation. But uncle does show up time and time again in like these movies, but also other movies I've watched coming out of the Hong Kong cinema.
Okay, yeah, it seems like an honorific title or something. Like
I think so. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. But yeah, it was his birthday, and the guy gives him the guy gave him 2 coins to go buy his uncle a birthday present, or the uncle the birthday present. And so he goes and spends 1 coin buying a bag, and then puts the other coin in the bag. That was fantastic. But yeah, it was his birthday. And then the other guy has a big box, and he's like, "Oh, this is for me. I bought it for myself. You can't have it." And he's like, "No, I'm giving this to the uncle," and grabs it and takes it from him.
Yep, and it turns out to be a spring-loaded glove. Good gag. Punches Master Gao, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Fully Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is true for most of these movies where they have like intense action sequence along with just the most Looney Tunes behavior. Because like Yes, Madam is one of the best Michelle Yeoh movies to come out of this era. She's a badass, by the way. Her movies all kick ass. If anyone who's seen Everything Everywhere All at Once can tell you that movie rules. She's been that badass the entire way. So back in the 80s, Yes, Madam also released this In the Line of Duty 2, which is nothing to do with any movie preceding it. So I don't know. She's in that movie as the kick-ass inspector, along with Cynthia Rothrock, by the way.
Okay.
But Billy Lau, this guy right here, he's in that movie as one of the bumbling bad guys, playing this same fucking archetype.
Nice. He gets typecasted.
Sometimes you find a niche and you just ride it for the rest of your career.
Hey.
Yeah. So if you see Yes, Madam, that's a good one. And also Royal Warriors is good. You should basically just watch anything that came out of Hong Kong. Like, Dustin, you've seen the ballad, Ricky O, The Story of Ricky, right?
Oh, love that movie. Yeah. That was one of the first, one of like the first handful, like 10 DVDs that I ever bought. It was one of those.
Also, that same director made a movie called The Black Cat, which is not to be confused with the other Hong Kong movies called Black Cat. Or
The Black Cat.
The Black Cat. Also not to be confused with any of the horror movies from the Western side of the world called The Black Cat.
Yes, or the cinematic masterpiece that's just called Cats.
Okay, Cats is terrible, but I think it's hilarious. I just do.
My daughter's big Taylor Swift fan, so she was like, "Oh, I want to watch this cat movie that Taylor Swift's in," and I was like,
"Yeah, my wife said the same thing."
How far did your wife make it? Did she actually watch the whole thing?
We made it until Rebel Wilson ate a child cockroach.
Have you not finished it?
No.
God damn it! You haven't even gotten to the worst part. You haven't seen Dame Helen Mirren scissor in appreciation.
You know, Patrick, you're not selling me like I think you are.
Yeah, my daughter turned it off after about 5 minutes, and she said, "This is the cringiest thing I've ever seen." I'm right.
Okay, there's a cat in that movie called Monkey Strap, right? He's like the kind of like the first cat you see introduces like the protagonist surrogate cat, that like the audience surrogate cat, right? He's there guiding them, telling them these are the names the cats have and all that shit, right? That guy.
Mhm.
And that actor is like 110% committed to this part. And I feel like he burst into the audition office saying, I came here to do interpretive dance and fuck cats. And I'm all out of freeform jazz.
I bet you he walked into the audition in like a cat costume already, and then just like kicked in the door and just started dancing and singing. And like he's just like, there's nobody else for this role, guys. That's it.
I mean,
it's me.
Yeah, it's him. It's him. It's
Yeah.
him. I think that if COVID hadn't happened, midnight screenings of that movie would have taken off.
It's possible. It still could happen.
It still could.
There's still a chance if they release the butthole cut.
Are you looking to advance your business into the modern age but need a little help? With Crawlspace, you can accelerate your career today. Having trouble with local inspectors keeping you from opening your store location just because it doesn't meet safety standards? With Crawlspace, you can make that problem disappear forever. What's that? A certain customer gave you a bad Google review? Simply track them down online and break into their house with a hammer. Crawlspace can take care of the rest. Is the floor beneath your home starting to reek with the smell of decomposing, let's call them, problems? Well, upgrade your Crawlspace package to include incense and ozone machines to nip that problem in the bud. Crawlspace. It's so easy, anyone can use it. Maybe even the neighbor next door.
Anyway, a child getting folded up into origami.
Yes. Back to the important things.
Yeah, so Billy Lyle's character Chang, he gets embarrassed, he gets humiliated, he's getting sent home, but he's a petty and vengeful person. So he sees the scam priest Mao eating looking like he's eating alone, but he's in fact eating with his two ghost friends. He comes and harasses Mao, so the two ghost friends decide to get their revenge by humiliating him in public because no one else could see the ghosts. Master Gao comes down from upstairs, sees what's happening, and it's like, no, I'm going to attack these ghosts. And he folds up the child ghost like origami and shoves him in a jar.
Pulls out these like leaves and puts them over his eyes, and all of a sudden he can like see the ghosts now. And he's like, there's these weird little magical things happening all the time.
I would just like to say, Patrick, I know you don't have like human children, but Dustin, as a fellow parent, I've never related to a feeling more than sometimes just wanting to fold your kid up like origami and put them away.
I mean, there were definitely some times in the early diaper days and stuff that you'd just be like,
yours is much older than my two. You know, my two are still under 3 at this point, and you know, there was a deep, quiet kind of catharsis to that.
Yeah, there's definitely some of her friends I wouldn't mind doing that too.
Well, yeah. Honestly, more kids need to be folded up like origami.
Yeah, you know, just every once in a while, keep them in check.
This is how we save Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha.
Someone's got to protect them from Skibbity Toilet.
No, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I hear tell.
The next child who comes up to me and asks if I like Mr. Beast is going in the origami bag.
Oh, that's good. My daughter hates Mr. Beast, so that's good.
That is good. Mr. Beast fascinates me from like from a production standpoint. I've watched probably 2, maybe 3 of these videos, and from an editing standpoint, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It's like the pace is like if you gave a gerbil cocaine.
But and that's how they do that's how you got to do it now. Just got to boom, 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 boom.
There's so much going on, and I wonder like what the production looks like behind the scenes. It's got to be insane.
It's TikTok, really. Like the rise and advent of TikTok has really popularized that rapid fire editing style amongst content creators.
Yeah, the thing about TikTok is I think it ruined the internet, and this is my old person opinion.
You're getting old.
Let's get you back to bed.
Which was the style at the time?
I rail against it. Stop pivoting the video. Stop it.
Old man screams at the cloud.
Yeah, and I think what it happens like so rapid fire that you don't ever get a chance to sit back and think, God, this is stupid, because it's just constantly coming at you. So it's, it kind of, that's why these things gain in popularity, because it's short, it's fast, it's easy, and you don't really have a chance to think. It just gets shove, go, next thing.
If you're too busy catching razor blades in your mouth, you never stop to think, maybe I don't have to catch these razor blades in my mouth.
Yes.
That's
What?
just capitalism.
It's just capitalism. Razor blades in the mouth, just capitalism.
But speaking of rapid fire things to keep your head spinning, this movie, what essentially happens here is the priest captures the ghosts, and so our scam artist Mao, he wants to go and try and save them. He exposes himself as being a person who's been scamming people. Master Gao talks him back into like, that's not the way of the Tao. You have to like, this isn't what we're about. You have to like reorient yourself with the faith and the practices and set these and drive these ghosts away. So he does. There's like an old Yeller moment where he tries to drive the ghosts away.
Yeah.
Go on, get out of here, you stupid ghosts.
Yeah.
I never even liked you anyway.
But we find out that if you cover yourself in ashes, well, it says tar, but it looks like ashes.
Oh, it says ashes in my cut.
And so I think your translation is better here. If you cover
I think it was better before too with the urine.
It probably was. It does sound like it was supposed to be a joke. So anyway, the point is, you find out that ashes can conceal yourself from ghosts. So Chang is like, I fucking hate these ghosts. They humiliated me. I'm going to cover myself in ashes and harass them. And in so doing, leads to the ghost being kidnapped by the evil witch horse thief.
Yeah, the devil lady.
As you do.
She puts him in the body of a recently deceased person and turns him into a zombie monster. He is dressed as Jiangxi, but he is not act as Jiangxi, because all of these movies they do only move by hopping. they extend their arms completely in front of them, like a old school rendering of a zombie in a cartoon.
Okay.
And watching this happen is amazing.
Why did they hop? Did they ever, was there a reason?
The kind of theory behind it is there's a way of transporting corpses back in the day, I think, where they would tie them to bamboo rods and then transport them across the country that way, where they would like be standing up. So as they jostled while they moved corpses to their hometown or to whatever family plot, it looked as if they were hopping.
Okay.
That is what Wikipedia told me.
Okay. Wikipedia never lies.
Whether or not that's accurate is a separate concept, but that is what I have heard.
I don't believe Wikipedia because it said Christmas with Cookie is not a notable film.
What we're saying is that if you're like a scholar of Chinese mythology and history and culture, like please come and guest star on our podcast, because we don't really know what we're talking about.
No,
Yeah,
clearly.
we just dive on it. Yeah.
So this is where the movie starts careening into what I would consider to be an hour-long climax in two parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
The witch mounts an assault on the temple in the town, because during the last assault they actually captured two of her horse thieves. So she wants to go get them back. So she's captured the ghost and reanimated him into an unstoppable killing zombie and brainwashed him with magic to think anyone wearing priestly robes is an eagle.
Just a giant mean bird.
A villain from a Power Rangers.
And he apparently wants to kill that bird.
Yeah.
The movie plays out is they're preparing for this attack to happen by killing like a metric shit ton of chickens to drain their blood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've killed these chickens or not, because in Encounters of a Spooky Time, they did actually kill a chicken on screen and drink and use its blood for effect. And in the other two movies, they definitely killed live snakes on screen for effect. So these movies are not animal cruelty free, which is kind of a bummer. I don't know if they did that in this movie or not, because this movie this was
80s Hong Kong cinema kind of.
Oh yeah, well, a lot of the stunts are kind of just done for real. Like, there's not a lot of safety or oversight on these sets. I did only see the wires one time.
Yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job with that. Nothing was really standing out bad.
You can tell this was pre-Hell in a Cell.
They've got the chicken blood. They're prepared for the assault, but they're not really. The zombie bursts in and just tears straight through them and focuses on Mao to make sure, because he sees Mao as what essentially looks like off-brand Big Bird.
Yeah.
So the sequence is zombie tearing through this facility. It's just kung fu fighting. Zombie tearing through the facility, just kicking everyone's ass, and then cuts back to his POV and giant Big Bird running around. Hilarity ensues. And while
Yeah.
this is going on, the witch breaks in to try and breaks into the cells to try and rescue her partners in crime. However, it's a trap, and she gets trapped there. And so they got the zombie on the one side, and then the witch trapped in the prison cell. But oh no, we've trapped her in here with us, and we're about to get murdered.
Where's that Rorschach clip when you need it?
This entire sequence winds up in the witch getting killed in the well, and also her horse thieves getting killed as well. So everyone in the evil magic gang is dead, and they think that they've won. But the witch's magic prevails, and the ghosts of her thieves possess members of the temple, and they mount an assault on the town, who was all gathered in the temple celebrating the defeat of the evil witch.
But it's great because they don't really possess them as much as they treat them like puppets.
Yeah.
They kind of possess them, but they also like have their feet underneath their feet so they could walk them around.
And I think I think that's something culturally Chinese as well.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
I love this. This is such a this is much more fun version of possession. Where
Right.
they're literally just being piloted around by people.
And those guys are like, oh, their heels aren't touching the ground.
Everything about this is so much better than Roman Catholic exorcist movies.
Because they always boil down to like the same exact thing happening with the girl in the white dress and like the priest having a crisis of faith. Like The Exorcist is good. Do not get me wrong. I know it has all those things, but it started all those things.
And there was a hilarious scene just a little bit before that with the two guys that were with the devil lady. When they had the little paintbrush on their forehead that would stop them from moving, or was this afterwards?
That's coming.
It's coming up, right? Yeah, okay, that's coming up. Yeah.
So the zombies break in, and they use them. They a lot of the spells in Taoism are done by writing on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have calligraphy brushes as part of their magical instruments. So they use they use a brush on these guys' forehead to stop them from moving. And this is the scene you're talking about.
Yeah, this one made me laugh.
Ching and his idiot companion, they've got them trapped while the two priests are doing wizard shit in the other room to make sure they can make a medallion to actually capture the ghosts. They call it the reversal of the elements, and they're doing all these signs and wheel turning, and it's like a whole production. It's great.
Right.
But back on the other side,
And they just do it. They don't have to explain what they're doing. They just do it. I like it.
you get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of movie I like, where it's like, why should I take the time to explain everything that's happening? We could kind of infer a lot. No origin stories, which is good. I'm firmly against origin stories.
Yeah, they've kind of been overdone.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Did Indiana Jones have an origin story in that movie, or in Temple of Doom? They don't get around to that till like the third movie.
Yeah, you just kind of you can talk about some things that had happened and go on. So is this about when they go to boil the one guy? What was going on with that?
All right, so they capture the ghost out of the possessed people. They just suck the ghost out of them with their magic jars, and they're going to kill the ghost by throwing the jar in boiling oil, but it has to be boiling. If they throw it while it's boiling, it will kill the ghost. You get deep fried ghost.
Mm-hmm.
Coming soon to a state fair.
Exactly. if it's not fully boiling and you throw it in the hot oil, it will be deformed, but it won't die. So this time the party splits up, and Mao is going to boil the ghost alive, whereas Ching and Master Gao are going to go see if the witch is still dead. And the witch is not. The witch is dead, but her ghost is coming to kill them. And so the movie splits into fight sequence with the witch and sequence of Mao trying to burn the ghost, but he throws the jar in too soon, and the ghost comes out as a melted, deep fried, gooey mess with eyeballs stripping off of him, and it's great.
Yeah, like a wax monster. That was something else. It was just somebody in a big gloppy looking, like it looks like a melted wax figure.
Or like it was like pre batter frying something.
Yeah. It was cool. I was a big
And-
fan of that.
And to hide from them, he covers himself in ashes while he's fully naked.
Yep. We get dung.
Yeah, he hangs dong. It's awesome.
Hold on, what was the guy's name that was hanging dung?
No, no,
Is it
we can't do
Mao?
that.
We can't.
We cannot do that. I'm not even saying that.
Wow. We've pissed off the Scientologists, Gary Glitter fans, and the Chinese Communist Party.
Yep. And Criterion.
This is
Mao hangs dung.
Anyway, the entire rest of the film is a fight sequence between the witch and everyone else, right? He does eventually deep fry the ghost again. He throws the ghost back in the oil.
And that's how you make Chili's chicken crispers.
All I'm saying is Chris was the one going like, hey, we're not going to get through this movie, and I'm the only one trying to talk us through the movie. Does anyone else want to help here?
Oh, I'm enjoying this tour. I'm trying to help you. We're trying to pitch in.
I'm gonna keep sticking branches into your spokes.
Okay. So anyway, at 2 a.m. when we finally get through with this, I'm trying to picture how the fight sequence with the witch ends.
It ends.
Oh, right, of course. So the witch tries to possess the priest Mao.
Yes. Yeah, she's like trying to slide her feet under everyone else's heels. And she gets into one guy.
So our ghost buddies want to help their friend. So they headbutt the witch until she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They like grab.
There's not another way to put that.
They grab.
Yeah.
They each grab her from behind while she's grabbed the priest from behind, and they just headbutt until she pops out of the priest.
Well, the ghosts help out because they run through and they have one of the calligraphy writing things that have spells, and they just like run and then have it slap onto them and just run right into the other guy, and then they all headbutt each other, or they headbutt and like sparks fly everywhere like it's an electrical fire.
Yep.
So that was.
And then she's dead.
Yeah. And then she just disappears, and yeah, that's I think that was just about the end of the movie.
Yeah. Well, the movie does end with a freeze frame.
Oh yeah, with the guy saying "I'm not all right" or something like that.
Yeah, because they all do.
Standing tall.
All of the movies from this era, they literally end with like a joke stinger freeze frame, and then immediately slide into highlights from the movie with the credits rolling over it. Everyone,
Nice.
Yes, Madam, Magnificent Warriors, Royal Warriors, this movie, all of the Mr. Vampire movies, The Black Cat. I don't know if Ricky O did, but Ricky O's in the 90s, so a little bit later. But yeah,
No,
all
he just
do
broke
this.
through the wall and was like just walking through the wall while the credits were rolling.
That's true. He was doing that. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
I think that's honestly the best way to end this movie, because there's really no like putting a bow on this. You just gotta stop. You go and go and go until your knees buckle and you pass out as your forehead hits the pavement.
I mean, this movie is a 90 miles an hour, balls to the wall action sequence / Looney Tunes comedy / weirdest special effects you've ever seen in a movie. People getting folded up, people inflating, ghosts getting deep fried, a giant big bird, all this and more. Does anyone have a Stefan joke to get me out of this one?
And I don't have a joke at all. This is it's just
It's got everything.
It's got everything except for vampires.
Yeah. Actually, now that you mention it.
Mr. Supernatural.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So that was about it. So that was Mr. Vampire 3. It was I liked it. It was a fun movie. I'm glad I got to watch that.
And you should watch the other two, because I was telling Chris, this is the least insane one I've seen. It is almost boring comparatively to the other two films.
I think I will enjoy the other two much more.
I can't guarantee that.
That's fair. You know, like I mentioned at the top of this episode, I think me not liking this movie reveals more about me than it does about the movie, because the movie is very much not trying to be anything other than what it is. And I think that it says more about the fact that I did not enjoy it as much as you guys, that I think that's some self-examination I have to do.
Okay, that's an interesting point. But like, in terms of the movies that I will recommend people, in my pursuit of apps of the most deranged things possible, the most bonkers shit out there, I can never guarantee if the movie I'm going to recommend you is good or not. But the one thing I can recommend is you will never forget having seen anything I recommend to you.
Yeah, that's
And that's the Patrick guarantee.
the Patrick guarantee. It will haunt you in your dreams forever. That's the Patrick guarantee.
I just got through watching Street Fighter, and the movie's dumb as hell, and it's amazing.
Mhm.
More people should watch Street Fighter. It rules. I don't think I'm going to sell anyone on Street Fighter.
Which version of that was that? Was they only made the one Street Fighter movie?
Yeah, so they technically made two, but they're not related to each other. So the 1994 Steven DeSouza film with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia,
Mhm.
and God, who else was in that movie?
Yeah, that's the one that I know.
Fucking Kylie Minogue is in that movie.
What?
Kylie Minogue is Cammy in the Street Fighter movie.
Holy shit!
That's wild. Also, we got to be careful because we've mentioned another Jean-Claude Van Damme project. He's going to show up like Beetlejuice.
So, do you remember when he was in a movie called JCVD?
Ohaza.
I heard that JCVD was actually pretty good.
I heard they make pills for that now.
Yeah.
They've been for a while. It's called penicillin.
See, I'm allergic to penicillin, so I'm fucked.
Same.
Have you never watched JCVD?
I'm not a big Jean-Claude Van Damme guy. Usually, I've seen Bloodsport, The Quest, and Kickboxer, and Street Fighter.
The season 4 JCVD. All right. I've got some doozies coming up for next season.
Watch it. I'll put in fucking The Holy Mountain on the list.
Do it.
Have you seen Alejandro Jodorowsky films?
I have a copy of The Holy Mountain. I don't think I ever made it all the way through.
You know, that's funny you say that because almost no one does. It's as insane as it is. It's kind of grueling. It's like a movie that is completely derailed from time and space, but also somehow boring. There's a sequence in which frogs just explode for no reason. Big screen time given to goat testicles. There's a wizard kung fu fight.
Big screen time given to goat testicles. Okay.
There's an orgasm machine. There's a gun penis. And yet,
So what
no one
I'm hearing
remembers
is you have
it.
to watch this with Kaylin.
I have watched this with Caleb. I made everybody watch the fucking orgasm machine scene.
Damn, I must have missed that. It must have been before my time.
It was before your time. Yes, the orgasm machine has a baby orgasm machine with it. Like the machine. Okay, the machine is a mechanical vagina, but it's literally just a box, right? And they have this giant electrical stylus that represents the penis, and it is God, like 4 or 5 foot long, and they just kind of like rub it in front of the cabinet, and then the cabinet transforms, and like all of these like attachments and shit come out of it. It starts erupting, and then like gray goo shoots out the back, and it.
Jesus, dude!
Wow! Yeah, he's the editor. He can say whatever he wants. He'll just edit it to make us sound like that we're just insane and like he's just this normal guy. Like I don't know where it's coming from.
How do we want to end this, guys?
Well, we got to do the.
In a way, I brought you here to offer you a job. You think you can do it better, so here's your chance.
I don't know how to fix this movie because are there flaws? Yeah, but the flaws are part of the experience. The flaws are part of what makes it good. It's the Panther and the Pink Panther. Without the flaws of this movie, you've just got a big pink rock.
Yeah, so I was kind of stuck myself, and I'm like, God, what do you do to make this movie better?
I maybe not kill animals, but that's not funny.
That could be a bonus. Add a vampire.
Add a vampire? Yeah, I can see that. We could have a vampire in Mr. Vampire 3.
Add D&D's Strahd von Zarovich.
I mean, are you going to add Battle Wizards to your next D&D one? Like just do a Mr. Vampire themed D&D session?
Yeah, that's literally my next monk character.
Nice.
You shitting me? Are you going to tell me I can't play that?
No, you absolutely wouldn't. That sounds awesome.
And there was a lot of badass martial arts fights, people flying through the air, a lot of real just fun action scenes. I think that
I would remove
can't talk
Chang's
about it.
glasses. I would remove Chang's glasses just because it made me think of Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Jesus Christ.
But other than that, you know,
A perfect film. And we can stop doing the podcast. We found it.
We
the
found-
Library of Congress, take note. This needs to be added. It's culturally significant.
It is.
It actually is.
I got nothing else. This is fun. This is part of our Halloween specials that we're doing. So kind of continuing the vein of doing a Halloween part 3 movies. So this will be
You guys doing like any like running storyline thing? Is the apocalypse still going on? Is
No,
Satan going to show up?
There's no bits anymore.
no
There's
bits. No bits.
No bits anymore?
Completely
No
serious
bits.
show. No bits.
Oh, yeah. I guess the focus groups didn't like it.
Yeah, they're unexciting bits.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I did want to update you that the latest focus group said we should have more piss-based content. They're looking for more piss-based content. Less bits, more piss, they said. I'm just going to go.
Well, I don't think we got anything else to talk about with this one. Do we want to talk about what we're doing next week? Or are we just leaving?
Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to, Chris, do you have anything you want to plug?
If you want to come and play D&D with me, I run games for hire on startplaying.com. Look me up under Deus Ex Talus, God out of the dice. Beyond that, I think the only way we can end this episode is to just have a freeze frame.
A good freeze framer.
We are the Found on Shelf podcast. If you like what we release a new video. Jesus Christ. What we do, we release a new video, but also a new podcast episode every other Tuesday on New Video Tuesday. And during the month of October, we have one video every week because we did that one year and we kept doing it. So happy Halloween.
Because I like to find different ways to torture Patrick.
Find us anywhere. Find us at any of your social media networks at Found on Shelf Pod. We are Found on Shelf Pod, all one word. Other than that, happy Halloween.
Yeah, don't tell any of your friends. Don't tell anyone to listen to us. Just keep it to yourself. We're gonna try that reverse psychology like worked.
If other people know about us, you won't be as cool anymore.
Yeah, you can be like, oh man, I listened to these guys back when they were doing like only part 3 movies. You can be cool.
We're in our weird underground phase where we're throwing piss on people. And that's what they call a full circle.